G'day guys and gal. Guilliman's return was the biggest event in 40k's lore in over a decade. It shook the setting to its core and completely changed the trajectory of 40k. The Lion's return honestly looks like a drop in the ocean compared to the impact G-Man had. But Guilliman didn't just do everything alone, he had his Ultramarines by his side for the most part. But with Ultramarines being Codex compliant and only having 1,000 Marines, how much could they actually get done? Especially since they took a ton of losses during the early days of Guilliman's resurrection. This does beg the question, what have the Ultramarines actually done since Guilliman's return? After all, not all of them stayed by his side, and many went off to do their own thing, like Titus or Calgar for example. Before we get started, we have an absolutely giga major mini launch for you today. For me, it's all about making the best minis that look great on the tabletop. Earlier on, I approved some minis that quite frankly were just not up to scratch, so instead of just copying poor quality or discontinuing them, I decided to remaster them. As such, the Son of Iron model, which features my rendition of one of my favorite characters, has been remastered, featuring better sizing and proportions, a significantly better and more lore-friendly pose, and a better, less awkward gun, amongst a few other things. I've also remastered the Honorable Guardians. The old models for these were cool, but their proportions were shit, with small heads, awkward torsos, and so on, so I got them rebuilt from scratch, and damn, they're sexy. The perfect honor guard for any faction, featuring the two-handed sword variant, the sword and shield variant, and then the dual axes. Honestly, if you have an army of blue boys, these are the perfect models to add to it, to give it that extra flair and make it stand out. Everyone who's ever purchased either a Son of Iron or Honorable Guardian was emailed a 25% discount code to pick up the remastered versions. If you didn't get your email, just message me on Discord and I'll sort you out. However, these remasters are just the entree to the main meal. I have partnered up with some of the best painters in the world to bring you the most advanced, best quality and ergonomic painting handle ever, made for painters by painters. The legends at Warhammer Studios have given me exclusive rights to sell their painting handles, which feature the awesome ability to rotate your mini around without having to twist your hand like a maniac. It's made with high quality materials so it will last forever, and it's honestly one of the best things you can buy right now to level up your painting game. The standard edition comes with a 35mm mount base for you to chuck your full mini on, however the ultimate edition, which is limited, features the 35mm base, corks that can be screwed on, and 2 cone attachments, which are great for head painting. The ultimate edition also comes with a free major mini of your choice. If that's not value, then I don't know what is. Stock is limited, we will sell until sold out. Yes, it's more expensive than a piece of shit GW plastic mini holder because it's actually good. The guys at Warhammer Studios are Golden Demon winners, and this is the painting handle they built. Link to everything is below. Today we'll go over what the Ultramarines have been up to since their daddy returned. Now let's get into it. So the thing about the Ultramarines is about 3/4 of all loyalist Space Marines can track their lineage to the Ultramarine Legion, sharing the blood of Guilliman. This is because the Ultramarines were the largest legion post-heresy and are known for their logistical brilliance, hence had no issue spreading their gene seed far and wide and rapidly building tons of chapters. However, they are also Codex compliant since their dad literally wrote the space book, so the actual Ultramarine chapter never went over 1,000 Marines. However, if needed, the Ultramarines would reform into Legion strength, such as when they smashed and then scattered the Night Lords on Sagwelsa. I'm just trying to paint the picture that the Ultramarines weren't this massive chapter, however they did often use Ultramarine successes to bolster their numbers for larger campaigns. When Guilliman returned, most of the Ultramarine chapter was on Macragge at the time, and with their Primarch leading them, they managed to throw back the Black Legion and secure their capital. You may be wondering how the Black Legion were able to just instantly invade Macragge. Surely Ultramar is more secure than that. Well, Abaddon was desperate as he knew something fishy was going on, so he was willing to blow his load and take significant losses plowing into Macragge. The Great Rift had also opened, which did kick the entire loyalist war effort in the balls, which allowed Abaddon to take advantage of their blindness, as the Astronomicon had gone out. It's like why Khorne was able to manifest a massive army on Terra. The loyalists were reeling and the Emperor literally got knocked out. Here is where the Ultramarines split up. Marnia stayed on Macragge to rally the Ultramarines and keep it secure from Abaddon's forces, whilst Guilliman took a large force of Ultramarines, which included people like Cato Sicarius, and led them on the Terran Crusade, an extremely perilous journey to Terra in order to reunite with his father. The Terran Crusade featured a massive force, as the word of the reborn Primarch spread far and wide, attracting other Space Marine chapters like the Raven Guard, Dark Angels, White Scars, and many famed Ultramarine successors. It also pulled in loyalist Titan Legions, Night Houses, and the like. The Crusade wasn't exactly a beeline to Terra, with Guilliman using his massive army to retake Imperial worlds and slaughter Chaos forces along the way. However, the Chaos Gods weren't super happy about G-Man's unexpected return, hence nearly all of them hatched their own plans to fuck with the Avenging Sun and his Ultra Boys. The Ultramarines were dragged into hell and back, getting ambushed by the Red Corsairs, and then Magnus himself appeared to taunt G-Man. Kairos Fate Weaver pulled a fast one and even managed managed to imprison the Primarch in psychic chains made strong by Guilliman's own doubt. With Guilliman's life in danger, the remnants of the Terran Crusade surrendered and were either captured or killed, with Kairos keeping the heroes alive as he believed they could serve a purpose. Then shit got fucked. Khorne didn't like the whole prisoner situation, so he got his forces to invade Kairos' Blackstone Fortress. During this demonic battle, Cypher, a Harlequin wizard, and some fallen angels arrived and freed our heroes, guiding them out of the fortress while the Legion of the fucking Damned appeared to help cover their retreat. Riders had been drinking white monsters or something that day. G-Men even squared up and banished Scarbrand. Now by the time they managed to escape and get into the Webway, the Terran Crusade wasn't looking too hot. Most of them had been scattered or killed, including his own Ultramarines. Don't worry about Cato though, he was fine. However, G-Men and friends did manage to pop out on Luna, throw hands with Magnus, which eventually resulted in Magnus's banishment, and Guilliman speaking with his father. Now most Ultramarines did die in this crusade. However, G-Man was able to activate his trap card, the Primaris Marines. He was instantly restocked with a gigantic fuck-off army of Primaris that restored and then overflooded his chapter. He also abolished a lot of the Codex's rules, telling people to go nuts and make big chapters if they wanted to, which makes sense, as if a chapter had 1,000 Marines and then gets given 500 Primaris, they would technically be violating the Codex. Wherever Guilliman went, a huge chunk of Ultramarines followed. They fought in the Yscian campaign, G-Man's first public outing during the Indomitus Crusade, which itself was basically the Imperium gathering its might and then blowing its load all over the galaxy's tits. A greater challenge would come when a detachment of Ultramarines, without the help of Guilliman, took on the Necrons. They did actually manage to sort of win, mostly because the Necrons turned on each other, as half the Necrons love the Silent King and the other half hate him. A Necron pylon array was destroyed, and the Necrons did end up losing a large force and an overlord. Guilliman also sent a force of Ultramarines to get involved in the war for the Pariah Nexus, an ongoing battle against the Necrons to try contain their expansion. This is evidenced by the Ultramarine apothecary who found and aided Zarkan the Salamander. While this was happening, Guilliman himself led a huge Ultramarine force, backed up by other chapters and other Imperial elements to take on the forces of Chaos during the Battle of Ralkos. It was considered one of G-Man's more decisive victories, as he outmaneuvered and dominated the Chaos forces, killing dozens of thousands of Wordbearers, Black Legionnaires, and Iron Warriors. He also took out their battle group in the process. He literally masterclassed them, using the Sisters of Silence to block any attempts to summon demons, besieging and humiliating the Iron Warriors at their own game, and so on. Sometimes it's nice to read about a straight up, clear-cut win. Not everything has to be Pyrrhic. From here, the Ultramarines were divided further. Mortarion led the Death Guard to attack Ultramar, forcing Guilliman to go home to defend it and confront his brother. This was the bulk of the Ultramarine force, as well as many Ultramarine successors. Meanwhile, Marneus Calgar went to Vigilus, the planet that controlled the only stable route through the Great Rift that connected the two sides of the Imperium. Guilliman would successfully defend Ultramar, dying in the process, but getting the Big E to resurrect him before then using him to clap Nurgle's cheeks, knocking Mortarion off the board and benching the Death Guard. Likewise, Marneus managed to defend Vigilus from the Black Legion and Dark Eldar, personally confronting Abaddon in a duel, and whilst he did lose, mostly just because Abaddon's gear was a higher level than his distraction almost caused the destruction of the Vengeful Spirit, forcing it to make an emergency warp jump, a panicked Abaddon then chasing after it, which kept him busy for a while. Soon after this, the second company of the Ultramarines would go to Kadaku to fend off a Tyranid invasion, which ended up being a complete headfuck when the Thousand Sons got involved, as per the plot of Space Marine 2. Lieutenant Titus and Second Company managed to defeat both the Tyranids and the Thousand Sons, with the aid of a recently recovered Marneus Calgar. The Ultramarines were at the forefront of a lot of Tyranid invasions, especially the Fourth Tyrannic War, which is ongoing. The Battle of Batior being an especially large event, where the Ultramarines, Custodian Guard, and other chapters took on a massive Tyranid high fleet, with even the Eldar, Necrons, Leagues of Votan, Orcs, and other Xenos also getting involved. It did end in the Tyranids mostly being driven back after suffering obscene losses. However, a number of Imperial worlds were eaten, and the Tyranids give less of a fuck about losses than I do about how people cook their eggs, so it's not very dramatic. That's always the issue with the Nids. You could kill 1 trillion and take out a high fleet, but then 5 minutes later an even bigger high fleet is there. The last major event in 40k's lore was obviously the Arcs of Omen campaign, that ended in the return of the Lion. The Ultramarines were involved in the Battle of Malak amongst a few other engagements, winning some here, losing others there. But overall, with the Plague Wars and other huge events, I think GW realized they need to calm it down a bit with the Ultra Boys and give someone else some time in the sun. Don't worry though, I'm sure some hectic campaign will happen soon where the Ultramarines get down and dirty and do what they do best, which is everything. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the remastered Honorable Guardians, the remastered Son of Iron, or the new limited awesome as hell painting handle made by Warnbrush Studios. Remember, if you've already bought the Son of Iron or Honorable Guardian, you're entitled to 25% off. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more Ultra content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.